Today, we can expect a ruling by the anti-white racist judge on the District Court in District of Columbia, federal judge Tanya Chutkan, enjoining President Trump and Elon Musk from getting into government records and doing what they have to do, among other things. This is the same judge, Tanya Chutkan. She's a DEI judge. She got there through, in effect, affirmative action because Biden needed someone who was black and female, put her on the bench. This is a judge who, in fact, had made a statement that President Trump was responsible for January 6th when she sat on a criminal prosecution against Donald Trump by deranged Jack Smith, as Trump puts it quite accurately. She had a conflict of interest, but she won't take herself off the case. I've had her on a number of cases. She's dumb as a rock, but she will be ruling against Trump. And I know that I'm talking a lot about the federal judges because they're the biggest problem, they're the biggest threat to democracy in this country. There are some good ones. They're few and far between. But most of them are political hacks that were put on the bench with large campaign contributions, like this clown, to use the word loosely, maybe a Stephen King type clown, a scary clown in Rhode Island, who was put on the bench after donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Democrat Party, who was recommended by Sheldon Whitehouse, who is mafia connected. Rhode Island is a mafia state, top to bottom. It's the most corrupt state in the United States, very small, but controlled by the mafia. And this is what we're dealing with. So the American people need to break through this. I can't talk about this enough. And I was the one that basically communicated with Elon Musk by replying to some of his tweets. He tweets, between 20 and 50 times a day, maybe even more than that, on his own site, X. And I told him it's not just a question of eliminating federal judges 1% a year. Of course, that's extremely difficult to do, almost impossible to do, but they need to be impeached. He picked up on that. But they need more than impeachment. But impeachment is hard enough because the head of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, who you see on Fox News all the time, rolled up sleeves like he's in the trenches, former Ohio State wrestling coach. He has skeletons himself. He was accused of covering up sexual abuse scandals on the wrestling team at Ohio State. He talks a good game on Fox. He raises a lot of money for himself. He sends out emails. He gets the notoriety. But frankly, excuse the French, he hasn't done shit. The fact is that he has the power to call these judges up to committee hearings, put them on the spot. Why are you ruling the way you're ruling? And then begin impeachment proceedings, which can come out of the House Judiciary Committee. The Republicans have a majority. The guy is a complete fraud. And you need to contact them. You can call Capitol Hill at 202-221, I think it's 24, I forget the number. I'll put it up on the website right now, but you should write him a letter and tell him he needs to do his job, or email him, or whatever the case can be. I tried to meet with him many months ago. He didn't want to find time to do that because he wants to do his own thing. So he has the power really to hold these judges accountable. But even more important than that, these judges need to be prosecuted. They do not have immunity. They gave it to themselves. The Supreme Court gave it to itself, and it flowed down to the lower court judges. There is nothing in the Constitution that gives them immunity. They took the immunity from King George III, leading up to the Revolution, who gave his judges immunity, so his judges' immunity could rubber stamp his illegal edicts against the colonies and other colonies throughout the world. This is where it comes from. Judges live in an ivory tower. They live in a glass menagerie, the federal judges. They think they can't be touched. They think they have life tenure. They don't. They serve for good behavior. They can be removed. But in 240 some years, only 8 judges have been impeached, and most of those for drunkenness and not showing up to work, not even bribery. The last judge that was impeached, Alice Hastings from Miami, for bribery, claimed that was because he was black. He played the race card, and then he won in his congressional district and became a congressman ever since, just died a few years ago. This is what you're dealing with. It's right out of the movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. Watch that. Called it up on YouTube. Many, many years ago, Eddie Murphy was ahead of his time. So was Woody Allen. They parodied the courts. Our legal system, on the federal level in particular, is corrupt from the top to the bottom. And you can see that with the prosecutions against President Trump. Of course, there were state prosecutions too in New York and the District of Columbia, which are the most leftist places in the United States. And not just the courts, the bar associations, The Bar Association in DC has been trying to eliminate conservative and Republican activist lawyers for years. They started on me 14 years ago. I'm still fighting them. I've got 12 cases against them. They claim immunity. There are two people that run it, Hamilton Fox, who actually charged at me physically, assaulted me in a meeting that I had to try to resolve things. And then there's Julia Porter, who is a vile, leftist, anti-male, white individual who hates anyone who is conservative or Republican. This is what they're dealing with. You even have a communist sitting on the board of professional responsibility in DC by the name of Michael Tiger. He's a proud communist. He writes books. He was fired by Justice William Brennan when he was a law clerk, young law clerk, for his subversive ties to Fidel Castro and Raul Castro. I have actually letters, thank you letters, from Fidel Castro and pictures with Raul Castro, with Tiger wearing a Cuba t-shirt in Cuba. This is what you're dealing with. New York Bar is the same thing. Both of them just disbarred Rudy Giuliani because he made a few mistakes in a complaint in 2020. Not just Larry Klayman, but you've got Senator Josh Hawley, Senator Ted Cruz, John Eastman, a professor from Chapman University, law professor who assisted President Trump, Jeffrey Clark, a Trump Justice Department official, even Kellyanne Conway. You've got Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, who actually kind of flipped and became more of a Democrat than a Republican. They filed against him because he withdrew the charges against General Mike Flynn. This is what you're dealing with. It's across the board. But these federal judges, and when you go up to the courts with these federal judges, they don't want to hear these cases. Well, they don't care about that. They just care about themselves. And to the extent that they were putting J6ers away, and I don't advocate this, and it wasn't just the Obama, Clinton, and Obama judges, it was also some rhino judges and even Trump judges that he put on the court. He didn't know who he appointed. Lobbyists gave him the names of these judges, and they were paid to do it. And he rubber stamped it, and they got up on the court and they started ruling against him. Is that the fact is that these judges only protect themselves, and they saw J6 as a threat to themselves because they thought that the hordes would be coming for them eventually when they got wise to what was going on. And I don't advocate that physically in any way. And I believe in using peaceful and legal means to get rid of them, and they need to be gotten rid of. But the fact is that they felt personally threatened because they know what they had done. And now the American people are wise to it. They can see what they're doing with regard to President Trump and Elon Musk. And these judges are at great risk, and I pray nothing happens to them personally or to their families or anything like that. But the fact is that they're the ones most responsible for the breakdown in our legal system because they are put there to protect the American people from the tyranny of the other two branches of government, and they have become the tyrants. Jefferson said, Thomas Jefferson, who was against Article 3 federal judges, said they would become despots and tyrants, no more honest than any other man. Of course, they didn't refer to women in those days, causing us to shed the blood of patriots and tyrants yet again every 20 years or so. What's a few thousand dead to refresh the tree of liberty? It's the natural manure of government. So the bottom line is this. These judges not only need to be impeached, they need to be prosecuted. You know, even Pam Bondi won't do that. She's not going to stick her neck out that far. We will do it at Freedom Watch with our citizens' grand juries and citizens' trials. We will prosecute them. We will indict them. We will try them. We will seek to fry them. We will seek to give them large sentences so they learn a lesson. Just need to put a few away to put them all on notice of what's coming, because these judges are the biggest threat to the republic and the democracy of the United States. Again, there are a few good federal judges out there, but not many, because they all got there, by and large, through politics, through money, through power, through basically methods to pack the court. Large law firms, particularly in Washington, put up lawyers, promote them to become federal judges. The law firm of Mueller, former special counsel Mueller, got two judges on the court during that time period, a Democrat and a Republican. So they got it covered. That's how they get clients. Oh, we got the judges in our pocket. Hire us. It is so corrupt. The city of Washington, D.C., is the most corrupt, probably the most corrupt city in the world because it's done dishonestly. At least in Italy, and I'm not saying this is right, or in other countries, money's put into an envelope and given across the table. Okay, that's a crime and it's not right. In those societies, it's tolerated. But in our country, we come up with so-called legal ways to bribe. campaign contributions, other things, allowing for insider trading by congressmen and other means to make millions of dollars. Many of these congressmen and senators are multimillionaires, having come into office with little to nothing. Obama, for instance, came in with nothing. He's now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. How did that happen? Was it just Netflix? No, it was more than that. So they take bribes under the table, and the other side doesn't look at it because they're taking bribes too. You know what Biden did with communist China, Ukraine, and Russia? He did it on a grand scale. He's a master criminal, him and his family. But there are many Republicans that do the same thing that sell influence. So this is what Trump and Musk are trying to break down and to basically destroy peacefully and legally. We must support them. And that's why you must support Freedom Watch, because we're unafraid. We will back them up. We have the president's and Musk's back. But you need to understand that Pam Bondi, these now new attorney general, is up against a lot. 95% or more of the Department of Justice are leftist Democrats that will seek to destroy her. She needs help. I hope to be meeting with her in the near future and others to give them some spine in Washington, D.C. But you need a private group like Freedom Watch with a fearless leader, if I might say so myself, Larry Klayman, to do the job. And that's why we need tax-deductible contributions. We've been hurt during the period of Republican Rhino fundraising. It siphoned away a lot of money. We need to hire more lawyers. We need to file more cases. We need more paralegals. We need to ramp up to have the back of President Trump and Elon Musk, and to ourselves prosecute criminals like some of these federal judges like Tanya Chutkan that should be put away for a long time. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. Get my book. You can get it with a contribution of $75 or more. If you go to freedomwatchusa.org, you can just buy it on Amazon.com or any major bookseller like Barnes & Noble. Read what I had to say about judges and how we fix the legal system. We not only need a Department of Government Accountability, we need a Department of Government Legal Reform. And that's something that I can form with a number of prominent conservatives and Republican activists to solve what is now a totally corrupt federal legal system in particular. So go to freedomwatchusa.org. Please help us contribute with tax-deductible contributions. We are your Justice Department. You have none other, at least during Biden. Now you have a good one with Bondi, but she can't do the job by herself. So we need your help. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Remember, God will only help us if we help ourselves. Thank you for listening to me.